My expertise is being uncomfortable. I lived in a small town. Everybody knew me. And seeking the approval and admiration of everybody seemed to be all that mattered. I thrived on building relationships and seeking approval. So what did I do? I created what I thought was the dream teenage life. Here's what my perfection looked like. I took on competitive snowboarding, and I was good. My whirlwind took off before I knew it. I was a target for the Olympics. I won awards, gave speeches, traveled the world. The hyper little girl in me had figured out how to carry on my love affair for energy. I'd figured out how to channel my out-of-control enthusiasm for life into 2-minute heats of success on the border cross track. I was a killer in the snowboard world. I'd come home. I was at every party, my friends, beautiful, fun. I had become the teenager. I saw no problems in my life. I didn't experience the difficultness of self-discovery. I was trained at the highest level to exert all of life's energies in 2-minute heats. Here's what I wasn't good at. I had always known I was hyper. I always knew I had anxiety. I knew I needed to be admired and good at everything. I had no idea that was a bad thing. I had no idea that I was creating a toxic relationship with myself. And what I didn't know at all was that snowboard racing and maintaining my image was how I dealt with everything. I ran from things. I ran to instant success and praise, and my success was just a crutch, keeping fear and doubts away. I fit my image. I knew how to work the system. Nobody told me I had an anxiety disorder. Nobody told me I had a hypersensitive disorder because nobody knew, nobody could see. My stepdad was my snowboard coach until I made a professional team. He was so proud of me. When I was 16, I went to my first World Cup in Austria. He died when I was there. I got on with it. 2 years later, I was back in Austria. I tore my ACL. No big deal, a common injury in snowboarding. I came back home to Canada, got my surgery, moved in with my family, did my rehab. I was told 7 months and I'd be back, still in time for the Olympics. I was just off my crutches and I fell, tore my meniscus. My rehab team was convinced it was nothing. My surgeon refused to do anything else to my young knee. Rehab became my life. I saw every type of healer, worked with every type of specialist. And when nothing seemed to work, I was diagnosed with chronic pain. Duh. Nothing seemed to work. There was no answers, and that seemed to be the only one, and it wasn't one. I was 20 years old, far too young for my body to just not work. It was hard, and I struggled, and I sought answers for 5 years. Snowboarding wasn't the same when I returned to it. My passion for winning turned into failure. My success had gone from the only thing that made me happy to not even being possible. I couldn't do it. I continued searching for answers. I continued to see surgeons and see doctors and specialists. And then I realized I have to quit. I have to quit allowing myself to be let down by the one thing that never did. I stopped running from it. I stopped blaming people, and I just sat with it. What was I really feeling? I couldn't go on Facebook without crying because I'd see how everyone in the industry was doing. I couldn't watch X Games. I couldn't even watch ski racing without going into a serious state of sadness. And I probably never would have reflected on any of this. I probably never would have realized I had any issues. The choice wasn't mine. My career-ending injury made that choice for me, and not instantly over the course of 5 years. Getting my hopes up to be let down, getting them up again to be let down even harder. I had no idea what I was going to do next. My success and image was taken away. It took me losing snowboarding to realize my dad died, and I have a seriously unhealthy drive for perfection. I can't even walk into a room unless I know that I'll be the best one there at something, anything. And that's not easy for me to say. I felt worthless. I felt uncomfortable in my own skin. I was scared. Just because I was going through change, I couldn't understand it or explain it. And I know that I'm not alone. Over 1 million Canadians struggle with anxiety or depression, and it's so exacerbated by our success-driven, digitally rendered, relationship-challenged world. And this is just how I dealt with struggle. People react from traumatic change differently. It can be a lot worse. You can really feel heartbroken and isolated, no matter how much support or reassurance you get. You can feel like there's no way out. And the scariest part of all of this is the stigma and the shame and the fear of disappointing people. You can really feel like if this is how your life is going to be forever, then there's no point in living. And it's easy to hold that in and think it's just a feeling, but it's not. And that needs to be accepted and dealt with. It can be embarrassing to even admit these things to yourself, but this is where you need to be. Get used to it. You're not going to avoid adversities. You're going to get better at them. You need to be comfortable being uncomfortable. What have I learned? That's what I've learned. I've learned to be uncomfortable. I became perfectly uncomfortable. People would ask me, "What do you do?" I only just stopped saying, "I snowboard for a living." I had associated myself with this master status I created. I was a successful, charming athlete. Shifting from this, impossible. That's how it felt. But I let myself be uncomfortable, that I felt sick. Most of us can't even tolerate being uncomfortable for short amounts of time. We distract ourselves with drama, eating, drinking, drugs. But this feeling is the first step. You need to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And it was so uncomfortable, but far less than trying to live into an image that no longer fit. I started recognizing my challenges and tackling them one by one, really, really slowly. And I realized my body is just a vessel. My knee no longer performs, so what? My mind is where my champion is made. You can get through everything in life with 2 things, you and me. And that's it. There's no big secret. You are a toolbox waiting to be used. But like a workshop, you don't just walk in and know how to use every toolbox there. You learn, you familiarize yourself. Exactly what you do with yourself. You'll sit with your uncomfort, you will get your bearings, and you will know what to do next. You'll want to tackle change, you won't want to run away from it. And you do have friends and peers who will lend you perspectives and support. It takes courage to let people in, but it will be worth it, I promise. There were times for me when everything was excruciating, and all I did was nourish the part of me that could heal and reach out. I reached out to everyone, and they wanted to hear me. And I got my fierce determination back. I realized I can still do whatever I want, and right now that's wanting to go to med school. I love myself and whoever I become. And I've realized the only person I need to seek admiration and approval from is myself. You can say to your friend, "I'm scared, I'm lost, and I don't know what to do next." Let people in, because it's easier to support one another than it is to support ourselves in isolation. We need not to be alone together, but together. We are meant to struggle. We're meant to cry. Don't tell me you're fine if you're not. Be okay with not knowing what's going to happen because you don't. And if you think you do, you're lying. And what will you do when it doesn't happen? You might like to think failure is not an option. I did. I decided early on failure is not for me. But then I realized all failure is an opportunity to learn. I fell down 41 times and I got up 42 times. We are conditioned to give up. But if you learn how to use your toolbox of being vulnerable, taking care of yourself, and sustaining support, you will realize you can shift your dreams. You can shift your focus onto bigger, better things when you go through adversity. You will realize you can bend and not break. Being resilient will mean something different for everyone. For me, it literally meant quitting. It's not about pushing through something you don't like. It's about having the insight to choose the right path forward and the resilience to keep going. I hope you do struggle. I hope you do find yourself in low places because that is when you'll show yourself what you're really capable of. It's when you recover from that and move on to your next big dream that you'll show yourself how resilient you really are. Just wait till you see what a pleasure it is watching yourself grow. Thank you.